Hi YouTube, Junior Boy 100. Today's video is one on a charging issue that I'm having on the Infiniti G37. Now I did replace the alternator not too long ago, but I just think I got a bad one. It's only charging about 13.15 volts. So we're going to go ahead and look at the voltage that is being charged on this BMW because I know it's working correctly and it has a good alternator. Then we're going to go ahead and pop the hood on this G37. We'll put the charge reader on the battery while the car is running to see what the voltage is, and we'll compare the two. Then we're going to go up underneath the car. I'm going to pop out the old alternator that's in there, and I'm going to show you a trick to make it easier because these alternators are a bear to change. Ask me how I know. So let's get this car up on the lift, get right into it. First, let's check the voltage on the BMW. That UUC exhaust sounds good, huh? Alright, so the Beamer is charging at about 14.1, 14.2 volts. That is a good charge level. As you can see, it's right in the okay, good charging range. That's where it should be. 13, as you see right below it, is not enough to charge the battery while the car is running. The alternator doesn't put out very much voltage. Okay, so let's try the other car and see how it compares. As you can see, this one reads 13 volts, not enough. So this alternator is bad. We're going to go ahead and change it and see what it reads after we're done. First, I disconnect the negative terminal on the battery and put it on the trickle charger while I work. Next, I'm going to raise the car up and take off the serpentine belt. All right, well looky here. At least now I know why the alternator is failing. We've got power steering fluid leaking all over it. Look at that mess. So we're going to have to solve that problem, find that leak, fix that, and then get back to the business of changing the alternator. Yikes. Here's the evidence. Here's all that leaking fluid. And the bottom cover. Yeah. Think I found the culprit. A nice big red bolt on top. I think this is leaking. I don't know if it's the washer, if it's not tight or what, but go ahead and investigate and see if we can't fix that and then get back to changing that alternator. Alright, turns out the bolt was just a little loose. So I went ahead and torqued it to spec, and I think that's going to solve our leak. Now back to changing the alternator right after we top off the power steering fluid. Alright, so first we're going to loosen the tensioner, which is right here, this bar, and take the belt off, serpentine belt off, so that we can take off the alternator, which is right there below it. So here we go. Loosen up and remove the belt. Because the bottom part of the tensioner is blocking this bolt that holds the alternator, and that's the problem child bolt that we're probably going to replace because it's too long. It comes all the way out and it hits the radiator, so you can't change the alternator without taking the whole front end loose. But we're going to modify that. I'm going to show you guys a little hack to make changing the alternator a little easier. In order to get that top bolt out of the alternator, you need to put some tension on the tensioner and align these two holes here and here, and then put a screw through them to hold the tensioner back out of the way. I'll do that now. So I'm going to pull the tensioner and align the two holes, and then I'm going to put, there they are lined up, and now I'm going to try and put a screw through there. Okay, so now the bottom part of that tensioner should be out of the way of my top bolt on the alternator. These two wire connectors really have nothing to do with the alternator, but I take them off so that they don't get damaged. If you look at the back of the alternator, that top bolt it sticks through is right here. And you can see how much excess there is sticking out there. And that tells you how much you can cut off to give you clearance in the front so that you still have enough thread engagement, but you don't have to take the entire front of the car loose to get that bolt in and out. All right, so here we are. Here is the bolt right here sticking out, and it is hitting the fan, okay? So it's too long and you can't take it out. So they want you to take the whole front of the car loose in order to change the alternator and get that bolt out. But if that bolt was a ½ inch shorter, it could sneak in there. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shorten this bolt. We're gonna get a replacement that's a ½ inch shorter. It's 5½ inches long. I'm going to get me a bolt that's 5 inches long and see if I can't sneak it in. That is the trick. Here's the view from the other side. You can actually see it hitting the back of the fan. All right, so in addition to that one big bolt on the top, there's electrical wire attached to this. This is it. It's covered by this little boot, 13 millimeter, okay, on the back. There's an electrical connector here that you have to unplug from right here. Okay, I already did that. And then there's two bolts on the front. I'll get another angle and I'll show you those now. All right, so there's two mount bolts here and here. This is, yeah, so these are 12 millimeter here and here. Okay, you take those off and it should come out. All right, so the radiator fan is mounted with 10 millimeter bolts. This is on the right side. And if you come straight across, just like that, you'll find another one kind of tucked away, hiding down here on the left side. See if I can get a shot of it. Right there, okay? That bolt right there, that's a 10 millimeter. You're gonna take those loose, and I'll show you what's on the bottom. Okay, so on the bottom you have these two slotted areas, one here and one is here. And if you push up, so you can push these up, and you can get enough clearance, you push it up enough, you get enough clearance, and you can push this bolt out. Yeah, if you push it up a little bit more, I need two hands, but you're gonna push this fan up, and you can get that bolt out. So I'll show you the bolt out next. All right, guys, here's my little trick. I took a soldering iron and I took a little chunk out right here, okay, out of the plastic on the fan so that I can get this bolt out. Now, you only need, I misspoke before, you need 5 3/4 inches minimum. And this bolt is like 6½ inches. You can shorten it or buy a shorter one, and it'll be a lot easier, and you won't even have to do any of this. And if you want to do that, you can just cut the bolt. That's a little bit more work. But this, for me, was a much better solution because it has support screws on either side of where I melted it. One here, and there's another one on the other side. over there that, you know, support this plastic. It's just a little bit of fan plastic. I think you can see it now. And this makes it a whole lot easier than taking everything loose. I think I can actually get this one back in. I'm gonna try that. And I don't even have to get a shorter one. But bottom line, just melt a little tiny bit of that plastic and you're good to go. Now I'm gonna put her back in and we can retest the voltage to see if we're above 13. All right, my shorter alternator bolt finally showed up. The longer one, of course, is the original OEM mount bolt, and it is 127 millimeters length of the shaft only. Shaft only, okay? Not including the head of the bolt, okay? The other one is exactly 120 millimeters shaft only. All right. Ideally, you'd want to have it like a 118 minimum. Absolute minimum 117, but ideally 118. But I was too lazy to cut it off, so I just ordered the 120, and 118 is just not available. I found one for like 35 bucks. I'm like, forget that. And so you're still going to have to unbolt the two screws on top of the fan and move the fan a bit, and you're going to have to melt that little part. But that's a lot less work than taking everything else loose. So as you'll see when I reinstall this new alternator here, that it'll be a lot easier to get this problematic top bolt in. Alright, let's get it back installed. Alright, I just wanted to let you guys see what it's going to look like when you install this, how much thread you're going to actually have engaging that nut. So you're going to go through, when you install it, it's going to go through like this, and that's how much length you're going to have left. Okay, when you screw it all the way in, it doesn't even come out the other side. It will pull in, because it's going to pull in that sliding washer, but I mean, that's exactly how long it's going to be. There's where that nut is. Just so you know. So this is 120 millimeter. You can go a little shorter, but 120 will work. And I'll have a link in the description where I got this on Amazon. It was still like 18 bucks. Crazy. I don't understand why these are so hard to find and so expensive, but it is what it is. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and install it for real. Alright, so she's all installed, except for the serpentine belt. Wanted that out of the way so we could look at the top down of all of the bolts and these two electrical connectors here on the bottom. And we're going to go around and look at the back as well real quickly. Alright, here is the back view of the alternator. Here's the electrical connector. Here is the electrical wire that we connected with the bolt underneath that cover. And here are the two screws that hold the back plate. See if I can get those two right here and right here. All right, so that's how you connect up the front, and this is how you connect up the back. Hope this helps someone. Thanks for watching. Let's go ahead and check this voltage now and see if this whole job was for nothing. All right, guys, moment of truth. This is where the rubber meets the road. The last time we tested this before, it was 13.1 volts. So I'm going to start the engine now. And I'll pick the voltmeter up and let you guys see what it reads. Alright guys, it looks good to me. Almost 15 volts. Thanks for watching.